If you're a fan of fidget knives, you do not want to miss this video, because today I'm going to show you my list of top 10 lightning fast button locks. As usual, the links to buy, the prices, and if there's any coupon codes will be listed for you down in the description. And in case you weren't sure, these are all going to be manual action because, well, you know, automatics don't really make the best fidget knives. And if this is your first time here, hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm Jay. Go ahead and subscribe if you're looking for knife reviews. They get right to the point. All right, starting us off at number 10, I've got the button lock version of Savey Elementum. You know what? I kind of wish that all Elementums were maybe this size, because in that regard, I just think that this 3.5-inch hollow ground blade, I think it's perfect. I mean, would this knife be better with maybe a flipper tab and or some thumb studs? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I got to give Savey some credit for at least having the guts to try something a little different. I can't believe that I actually thought that I'd be able to just go ahead and like slap on one of these quick thumb studs onto the knife, because, you know, just like you, I watched a bunch of other videos about this knife and I couldn't understand why no one had tried that yet. Well, you know, after I got mine, I quickly learned why no one has done it yet, because you can't. You have to actually push the button to, you know, to go ahead and release that blade. And while I was kind of preparing for this video, I noticed I'm starting to have like a problem with mine. Now, is anybody else out there like experience some like lock stick, you know, where you push down that button and it stays pushed down? Because mine just started doing that. And I even tried, like I put oil on all the key parts, and man, I really don't want to, but I think I'm going to have to end up like taking it apart. Coming in at number 9, I got from Orion Knives. This one is the Solaris. Now, this was actually designed by my buddy David over there at the Blade Banner channel, and this is one of the very few knives out there that has 3 different, you know, opening options. You got the flipper, the thumb studs, and of course the lock itself. And how about that blade shape, man? That is just such a good looking drop point with 14C 28N Sandvik steel. And then, you know, to top it all off, it has, you know, what I like to call the trifecta, which is going to be any knife that has like multiple opening options, a forward finger choil, and a 2-position pocket clip. Sitting at number 8, I got from Real Steel. This is the Griffin. You know, I always kind of feel bad showing this one, because they're not easy to come by nowadays, but you know what? It's a great knife, and I just think that it deserves a spot on this list. I mean, they also made a larger, like, premium version of this. The blade is like 3.75 inches long, and the steel was M390. And man, I kick myself every day for not buying that one when I had the chance. But this is a 3.5-inch full flat ground drop point in 14C 28N steel, and you really got to be careful with this one, because those aluminum scales, they are a little bit on the slippery side. Now, keep in mind, okay, when this knife first came out, you know, it was during a point in time when manual button locks were very, very rare. There's definitely more of them out there now, but it's still a really small percentage, you know, compared to all the other types of pocket knives that are out there today. Number 7 from Kizer. This is the Mojave Original Black. Now, this one is pretty interesting because it's actually a collaboration between Kizer and a retailer, Mojave Outdoor, which is also the only place that you can actually buy one of these. Now, it's a black coated 154 cm blade that comes in at just under 3 inches. And this aluminum handle, it has like a sort of a powder coat finish on it that really does, it feels kind of nice. And it also has really, really good traction. Now, that right there, that's a pocket clip. I love the size of it. And it is even, yeah, it's even recessed, and they went ahead and attached it with some flat screws. Now, the first batch of this blacked out version, they were all numbered. And, you know what, unfortunately, they already sold out, but I have been told that there are definitely more on the way. And in fact, I think they sold out like the same day that they were released. Now, then later this month, though, there is going to be 2 different versions that will be released. There'll be different colors. And so you might want to go ahead and set up like an email reminder on Mojave Outdoor's website. Link will be down below in the description. And man, do I just love the action on that thing. I mean, you see with just the thumb studs, that blade just flies out of there. Push the button. Look at that. And I don't know what it is about these knives that have, you know, like when the blade, when it's closed and, you know, that blade is like practically totally hidden within that handle. I really just like how that looks nice and compact. At the number 6 spot, I've got the Altus from Savey. Now, for everyone that thought the Cogent was a little bit too big, guess what? Savey is taking care of you. Here you go. You get it's a 2.97 inch bead blasted blade in a Nitro V steel. Now, the open length of this knife is exactly the same size as a standard Elementum. So if you like that size, then you're going to love this one too. Now, I really do like, if you take a look on the G10 scales, they've got these generous sized access ramps. And what that does is just makes it just even easier, you know, to get at those thumb studs for opening. And the action, well, I'll just let that kind of do the talking for itself. Number 5 is going to be another Kizer. This is the Assassin. Just like the original black that I just showed you a couple minutes ago, this Assassin is pretty brand new. And so, yeah, I already like it enough to have it in my top 5. I mean, it is pretty close to being like the perfect size, you know, for me overall, with its 3.1 inch satin finished blade, and that's going to be in 154 cm. Now this the flipper tab, yeah, it is okay. It's a little bit larger, but man, it sure does help to rocket that blade open. In fact, this is the only knife on the list that I can't get it to fail on the deployment. Number 4, you guys all know this one from Savey. It's the Cogent. Man, oh man, how about it with the Cogent? They really got a lot of things right when they made this knife. I mean, it's a good looking 3.47 inch black wash clip point blade in 14C, 28N Sandvik. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around nowadays. Now, this handle, it has one of the most comfortable grips that I have held in a really long time. And this low profile kind of flipper tab, you see that? Yeah, that is just, I think that's such a nice touch. I really wish that we saw that on some other knives. And the action, of course, even with that small flipper tab, man, it is so easy to deploy that blade. Sitting pretty at number 3 from Kizer, this is the Cormorant. Okay, so at first, you know, I wasn't a big fan of this, and you know what, to be honest, I still do not love this blade shape, but everything else about the knife I do. I mean, remember earlier when I said, you know, how rare it is for a knife to have like 3 different opening options? Well, yeah, the Cormorant has 4: front flipper, back flipper. You got the thumb hole, and of course you can go ahead and use the button lock. So needless to say, this thing is just a ton of fun to carry, and man, they are just so difficult to like find in stock anywhere. So yeah, I would say people love these things. Number 2 from Drop and Ferrum Forge, that's the Mordax. I hate to say it, but this ProTech is probably the closest I'm ever going to get to owning a Malibu, you know, since they're both manual button locks made by the same company. I don't know what it is with that Malibu, but it's impossible to find anywhere in stock. But with this Mordax, if they went ahead and added thumb studs, and if it had a 2-position pocket clip instead of just the 1, it would easily be number 1 on this list. because I just love this drop point blade shape, and that forward finger choil is actually usable. I mean, it's such a well thought out design, with the 20 CV blade that is it's a little bit thinner than what we're used to from Farron Forge. They usually like to have the thicker blade stock, but I should have bought that other version, instead of this one with the milled scales, because honestly, they're not, when you really bear down on it, it's not the most comfortable, which kind of stinks because this was the most expensive version. I guess I just kind of thought that since it costs more, it's got to be the best one, right? Oh yeah, way to go, Jay. That's some solid logic there. Before I go ahead and show you my number one, I would love to know, what are some of your favorite button lock fidget knives? Just go ahead and list as many as you possibly can down in the comments. All right, you ready to see it? My number one favorite lightning fast button lock fidget knife, it's going to be a Spyderco. Yep, that is the Smock. Here's another knife, that I was kind of tough on in my review. Maybe I was even a little bit overcritical, but just like the Kizer Cormorant, I now realize that I was wrong. I mean, in fact, I like this knife so much, I had to go ahead and get a second one in M4. And potentially, I would like to have a third if I can ever get my friggin' hands on that DLT Trading exclusive, the red one with the M390 blade. So if you ever want to see like something unbelievable, go to eBay and look at how much those M390 smocks are selling for. And I think that the reason I was so tough on this knife at first was really, I kind of focused on just the amount of sharpened edge, because really, there isn't that much, considering the overall length of this knife. And if there's any chance that I could get you guys to maybe check out a new channel called NewCastleNinja, it's a buddy of mine and he likes a lot of the same knives that I do. So, if you got a minute, head on over, tell him Jay sent you. Link will be in the description. Right about now, there's a video up on the screen that I personally picked out for you to go ahead and watch next. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I gotta run though. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. See you at the next video. Take care.